Hello, welcome in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are tuning in from. I am Kiki, and this is Coaching Over Cacao. So settle in, grab a warm beverage, and we will jump in to potion posting ingredient number 4. So to recap, the first ingredient we spoke about was haunting hooks, how to grab attention like a ghost, less scare and more flair. Ingredient number 2, potion powered copy, words that work like magic. Last week we talked about a frightfully good CTA, commanding action with a bang. CTA stands for call to action. And this week, we're going to chat a little bit about spooky visuals, right? Creeping your content to life. So, there are so many beautiful, fun elements that you can expand on and play with. And I really like to add that fun and whimsical element to content creation because it can feel a little heavy sometimes. And I know it can be frustrating and want to get us out of our head and into our bodies and really into that creativity zone. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about was the power of color. So, you probably heard there's color therapy called chromotherapy, and colors also evoke certain emotions and encourage people to take certain actions. I was in a webinar recently and they were talking about how using orange or red on the action words that you want people to do something. So, like follow would be red or highlighted yellow, orange, or red. Share, click, whatever that action word is, it highlights it. And I don't love using red. I think I was traumatized as an English major with the red pen on all of my papers, but they had some pretty interesting stats. So may or may not play with it. I feel like I'll need to add glitter or sparkles or something. So, what is your color scheme? Are you playing around with different colors? Do you have a favorite color palette that you use or that you wear? I have a lot of blue and purple and green in my wardrobe, and my brand colors are teal and purple. And then with Celtic Reiki, it's green. So there's that brand consistency that's really subtle, right? I don't have to tell people my brand colors. Visually, you guys can figure it out. It's kind of all over the place. So those evoke emotions, right? Like blue is very calming, and a lot of banks use blue. I mean, we're on Facebook, it uses blue in its logo, and blue is a color that inspires trust and loyalty. And I also like the teal color because it represents the high heart chakra. And I want a lot of love associated with the post and what I put out in the universe and the legacy I'm leaving. So I think about it. If I'm 80, 90, or 100, and I look back on my social media channels, if they're even still around then, who knows? Am I going to be proud of what I left? The stories I told, how I inspired folks, and what I shared. So, kind of going into the future, talking with my higher self, what can I do to leave this beautiful, loving stamp and signature on my socials for others to experience? And colors need to align with you and your message, right? So maybe you love red and you love fire and you're very passionate in that, you got that rebel vibe, right? It has to vibe with you and your brand as a business. Like, what are some of the power words that you use or your clients would use to describe you? Are you feisty? Are you rebellious? Are you warm and soft and gentle? Are you whimsical and magical? Are you a little woo woo, ka-choo, and witchy? Right? No right or wrong. But this is where you get to play and dabble and really weave this magic of who you are and your self expression in the world. The consistent color schemes help reinforce your brand. So that can be the emojis you use, it could be specific words that are always in your posts, and using different colors. Do you have specific color hearts that you use all the time? I use a purple heart, right? I use my unicorn. When I'm talking about Celtic Reiki, I tend to use my fairy, my trees, and the leaf. When I talk about light, there's got that little glitter star or the disco ball, right? We all have our go-to favorites depending on what we want to convey in our message. So these are the elements that aren't the words, that help support the words and help things pop and really help us consciously and subconsciously connect the dots. Like we all know red and yellow double arches is McDonald's, right? It's just kind of with media and marketing and all of the commercials, there are a lot of brands that pop up that we can recognize without ever seeing the word McDonald's, right? Like emblems. So, not to say that you need a logo either, right? Your name, your face is your brand. So, you don't need to have this big elaborate website. You don't need to do this big overhaul of your social media or anything like that. This is where you get to play and experiment and see what feels good to you, because that is going to be the biggest magnet and attract your soul line clients. And eye-catching colors make your content pop, right? We scroll, and then it's like, ooh, that's pretty, right? Bright, shiny object syndrome. If you go down the cereal aisle, how many of us are touching that white, boring cornflakes box? Love the green rooster, but Raisin Bran is the bright purple, right? Lucky Charms is the bright red. The ones that have a higher sell-through rate use a lot more colors, depth in color, right? They're not afraid to be on the edge. So things to think about, little tweaks you can make or play with. And without a strong color strategy, your post may not evoke that deep connection and that emotion that you want to and that you intend to pull out of your reader or viewer, right? It may not capture attention, right? Not knocking the flavor of vanilla, but we don't want to be vanilla. We want to be chocolate or rocky road or strawberry cheesecake, right? We want to be that seasonal limited edition. Ooh, I can't wait to see what's next, right? We want it to pop. So that's about color. Then there's actually something called a visual hierarchy. So arranging elements on your post to guide the viewer's eye and focus attention on your message. So what is the most important thing, say for a visual graphic, that you want to stand out? Maybe it's your hook. Maybe it's read caption below. Right? What is the most important thing? If they read nothing else, what is the one thing you want to draw your viewers' attention to, right? So using color, bold, italics, underline, things like that on the actual word behind it to make it pop out and stand out is going to improve comprehension, right? It's going to improve that connection factor, which really leads to that conversion, that sale, that deeper impact we all want. So when we're not utilizing and optimizing this visual hierarchy, our content could feel cluttered. How many of you have seen and you're like, oh, that's too many words on a screen, and you scroll by? Sometimes it's a reel and I'm like trying to hold it, or I take a snapshot because it goes too fast, or I just give up altogether. So making it easy, yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but I usually look for the highlighted or the word in a different color, and that works for me. So I know it's going to work for my followers and people that are popping on my feed. So if you haven't played around with that, highly recommend. And you can do that even with a talking head video, right? Instagram, Facebook, they all like to do the closed captions, and you can go back and like highlight and add colors behind it to make certain things pop or to emphasize certain words or phrases that you're saying so that it files it further back and really locks in to your viewer's memory. And they start to associate those topics, those points of view, and your unique perspective. And then you step into that thought leader position, and you're no longer another healer and you're comparable and people are comparing on price, or you're in that convincing lane, right? You're something completely different because you are. You're one of a kind. You're a unicorn. You're Tigger. No one can do what you do the way you do it. So play around, have fun. And when you find something that works, rinse and repeat, right? When it's consistent, then your audience feels like you're reliable, that you have a routine. If it's inconsistent, your audience might feel confused, and a confused audience doesn't stick around and they definitely don't buy. And we don't want that. We want them to stick around. We want them to be in your world. We want them to hang out with you on your social media platforms. And we want them to get closer and closer to you until they become a raving fan and super happy client. So, themes and consistency are the last thing I'll touch on. So, creating a signature visual style for your brand, even for seasonal content. So, you've noticed all of the posts for October have had a Halloween theme, but I've still kept my main teal and white and purple and popped in some Halloween spooky elements. I've changed some of the copy to make it fun. And potion, Potion posting ingredients. Say that 3 times fast. And it was fun, right? Like I just picture this big old cauldron, bleh, more cacao. And you're putting words in, you're putting some color in, you're putting some emojis, and you're stirring it all up, and you've got the likes popping up and the comments and the thumbs up, right? It was this really cool visual in my head that I wanted to bring to life and share with you. And hopefully it's sinking farther back in your memory as well. And I don't know, who doesn't love a good theme? In fitness, we used to do theme classes, pop divas and ballads, and, we would do Christmas in July. Like it just changes things up, gives things that extra like sprinkles and cherry on top and whipped cream. And it just makes the ice cream so much better, right? Your message is amazing. The services and the transformation you provide are amazing. Maybe we just need a little bit more stuff on top to bring more people in a little bit closer, because we know after they get that first bite, they're going to be with you for life. So these are just different elements that you can play with to get them closer to work with you. So consistent visuals build brand recognition and trust. And when people trust you, the money conversation goes out the window. The majority of the objections go out the window, right? And then it just becomes a matter of what will this do for me? How many sessions do I need to get through this? Those are buying signals. We love those kinds of questions versus, is Reiki real? Or I don't understand. Can I just take a pill for this? Or whatever the case may be, right? And a unified theme creates a cohesive experience, and it's like a digital customer journey. So imagine you're with Dorothy and you're in Oz and you're on the yellow brick road, right? And you have all these distractions, right? The flying monkeys, you got the Wicked Witch, you got the castle in the background, then you meet the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, and right? But the yellow brick road is constant. So you can still have all these extra elements, but your brand visuals are constant. So your message and topics can change, but it feels like you. I'd say the number one thing that has been coming up with my clients recently is they're like, oh, I'm multi-passionate. I don't want to talk about one thing. And I'm like, so don't. Like, oh, I don't want to confuse my audience. You won't, right? If these visual elements are set, your topic can change because it's still going to feel like you. It's still going to be your voice. It's still going to be your words. And it's going to look like your brand identity and how you want to show up and represent yourself online, right? And seasonal and thematic visuals like Halloween can make your content timely and fun. And I don't want to say relevant, but just like we used to do current events in high school. We had to get a newspaper article and we'd have to write like a paragraph or two about it and turn it in. It was like early on in social studies before history. And I used to it was annoying, but I always knew what the heck was going on, right? And this is before we had like mini computers in our pocket. This is before pagers. We still had like payphones and everything. So think of it as your way of staying current, and people want to come to your site, your platform. What tea are you going to spill today? What are you going to share? What new perspective am I going to hear from you? Right? So think about your audience and your followers and realize they're really looking for something, right? They want to change. They want something more positive. They need that light, and you can be that light. You are that light. And I want to connect you with more of your soul aligned clients. So I would love to know, we talked about color, the power of color, visual hierarchy, and themes and consistency. Which one stood out to you the most? I would love to know, and give me a hashtag replay if you're catching the replay. And which one are you going to play with, right? We still have time. You can do some Halloween themed posts between now and next week, right? And yeah, I am excited we have one more element. So next week we are going to do the Monster Mash with hashtags and SEO to help you rise to the top of your feed. So I really enjoyed putting all of these together. I loved having an outline and a plan of what to share and how I can help you. I've already got some ideas. Half of November is planned out. I know several of you were requesting more details on the customer journey, and email has come up a lot, like email provider, email welcome sequence, how to sell in the emails, how to get followers from your following onto your email list and beyond. So I'm noodling all of that. I usually pop into my Akashic records and meet with my higher self, guides and guardians, and finalize that all before I put it into stone. So let me know if this helped, what questions you have around it. I can't wait to see your posts, and feel free to drop them in here, right? If you want feedback, both from me and from other folks in the group, on a message, on a visual, on a color palette, like, we are here to co-create and support each other. And my calendar is open. So I do offer a 30 and 60-minute one-on-one coaching sessions, so we can talk about anything under business and marketing and where I can help you. I record them. You get the video for life to refer back to. And if I can help you move the needle in any way in your business to get you those extra clients and get your business to the next level, that's what really lights me up. So until next time, I see you, I support you, I love you. Get out there and embrace your magic.